Hey everyone, this is Jack. This is going to be a bar by bar review for the S&P 500 futures contract for today, Thursday, May 21st, 2026. You can see my comments about the day here. And starting with the daily chart, you can see that the market has been in a strong bull trend, and we created a parabolic wedge top, and that's led to a couple of legs down, and we have a couple of swing points down here that appears to be enough support for the bulls looking for a test of the all-time high. Yesterday was a strong bull trend bar closing far enough above yesterday's high. That makes me think that we're probably going to try to get some follow through and break out above and possibly find sellers somewhere in the gap above. Bears would like to have a second leg down that tests the moving average and breaks below the support level, possibly for even a measured move down. But the market is always in long, so it's likely that there are buyers down here. And it's likely that there are buyers interested in the prior day's bull bar as well. So probably buyers below if we manage to break out below. On the 5-minute chart, bar 1, we have a bear bar. We have a gap down that's about a third of an average day's range. And we're right at the slow moving average, the 221 EMA. And we're right around the lows of the trading range that formed in the last part of the day yesterday, but we're below that price. We broke out below, reversed up, and we tested the bad buy signal bar high on the daily chart. It might be hard to see, but it's a bear doji, and we tested that high and reversed up. We have a bear bar, tail below. I imagine buyers not far below, but I imagine we go probably above the bar to find sellers and probably below the bar to find buyers. And we probably form a trading range open like we have every other day this week, I believe. Bar 2, a bear bar, follow through bar from the gap down, but a lot of overlap here, so I imagine buyers not far below, probably sideways to down from here. Not a good sell to close bar. Bar 3, follow through, but a doji. I imagine buyers not far below, but we could get a surprise bear breakout, and the bears would look for, at a minimum, a test of the Globex low, not very far below, and possibly a test down to a big round number 7,400, which would be near the low of this buy climax from the prior day. But so far we have a weak bear trend from the open and a tight trading range, so it's better to wait for more information. Bar 4, we have sellers above, buyers below 3, and another bear bar, 4 consecutive bars down, but not much of a trend. So I imagine that we have to go higher to find sellers, and whatever breakout we get to the downside will not get very far. We have bar 5, a strong bull bar with a strong close just at the moving average. I imagine we get above the moving average. We may find sellers there, and we may pull back. But this bar is strong enough that it's probably trapping the sellers selling above these highs, and we'll probably get a second leg up. But it could be a climax. This may just be sellers stepping aside, waiting to see how strong the bulls are, and then looking for a higher price to sell. So probably we get some follow through, but I would be cautious for an opening reversal here. Bar 6, a weak bull bar, a doji, tail above and below, but closing beyond the prior bar, so that's good for the bulls, but closing below the moving average. We found sellers not far above, and it looks like we're trying to channel higher, but I imagine sellers not far above bar 6. And bar 7, I think we had a lot of news around bar 5, 6, and 7, and judging by the strength of the rally, we may go a little bit higher, but if we start to reverse down on the next bar, that would be a candidate for a opening reversal and a swing down to a new low of the day and creating a trading range like most days. We're right around the midpoint of the Globex range, this solid orange line here. The Globex high is up here, the high of the prior day there, and the prior day's close here. We may make it to the prior day's close, but if the bulls don't find some more momentum, we may find more sellers above the bar and may have to go lower to find the buyers. Bar 8, we tested the low of 7, found some buyers, reversed up. Now we have a strong buy signal bar, but essentially a tight trading range, and there's likely sellers not far above these highs, but I imagine we go at least a little bit higher. I would be worried about this, an opening reversal down, and bar 9 breaking out and closing below bar 8. Now, it may not be closing far enough below bar 8 to create trapped buyers buying below bar 8. Probably the buyers are looking to buy somewhere below 6 into the range of bar 5. So I imagine we have to go sideways to down to find them, and if the bulls buying above 8 are trapped, they'll see bar 9 as a strong bear breakout, and they may start dumping out of their longs, creating more momentum to the downside. So we may accelerate down, and that's what we did with bar 10. Now we're testing the bad buy signal bar high, bar 4 or bar 3, and we may bounce here, but to me this is a strong enough breakout and follow through that will probably go down to a new low of the day, or probably down to the low close on 4 at a minimum. Probably bears want to break out a test of the Globex low and a measured move down of the range, or a test of the big round number. But if you look over here at the Globex chart, this is today, and this is bar 6. What do we have? Well, basically a trading range. We have a trend down, up, down, and right now we're low in the range, and the top of the range could be up here, or it could be all the way up here. The Globex high is up here. So probably whatever sell-off we get, we'll find buyers below the bar 6 low, which would be the low of bar 4. So if I'm short, I would definitely think about taking profit soon, and it looks like that's what a lot of bears might be doing here with bar 11. Bar 11 is a good follow-through bar, closing below the prior bar, but it has a big tail below, and it looks like we're reversing up from the low close on 4. Possibly a higher low if we start to turn up on the next bar, and a candidate for a failed opening reversal down and a double bottom and reversal up. Bar 12, good buy signal bar, reasonable to buy here. Maybe not buy the close, but maybe buy the pullback. I imagine we go a little bit higher, but I imagine we find sellers somewhere in the range of 10 or 9, possibly at the bad sell signal bar entry price for the bears up here, or maybe a 50% pullback of the move down. So far on the day, we have a trading range. We have a leg up, a leg down, both minor, and the market is searching for direction. And so far, we've only moved about half an average day's range. So probably we're either going to break out to the downside, get a measured move down, or break out to the upside, get a measured move up. At the moment, it looks like the bears may be able to get the breakout to the downside, so I'd be cautious here about being long, and I would be thinking a little bit more about shorts. But bar 13 moved quite a far distance above 12, and that's good for the bulls. The bulls were able to buy the close of the bar and make a scalp. And we pulled back into the range of 12, did not reach the low close, and reversed up. So this could be a pullback in what is a two-legged move up to the moving average. We got pretty close and reversed down. So possibly buyers at the close and below the bar, and probably sellers in the upper portion of the bar or at the high. 14, a bull bar, but a weak close. So I imagine we go a little bit higher, but probably just to find more sellers around the moving average. And instead, we have sell the close bears on 14, a breakout pullback short. Possibly we pull back more, create a third leg up, and find more sellers above. But reasonable to be thinking about shorts here and a test of the lows of the range. For the bulls, I don't think the rally is quite strong enough to buy right here. You could argue that it is, but you would need to use a pretty big stop. And judging by the market turning down at the moving average, it looks like the bears are a little bit more dominant here. So we're channeling lower with 16, but now we have an implied two-legged move down to the low close on bar 11. And we have a big tail here, so probably buyers not that far below. Maybe we go a little bit lower, but we're low in a trading range, and the day is a trading range so far. We have some trending behavior, but we don't have a breakout yet. So bears that are holding short, if we start to reverse up on the next bar, you got to be quick to make decisions. We have a double bottom, a micro double bottom, and a strong buy signal bar. You will find buyers above, but I imagine you will find sellers not much further above, and probably buyers below these lows as well. So follow through on 18, but tail, double top with 14 and the moving average. Probably sellers here for a pullback. 19, reasonable sell signal, but closing inside the range of the prior bar. Kind of like 15, might get another bar down. So far, it looks like we're having 2 or 3 bar legs. So we may get another bar down. I imagine we find buyers around the low close or around the low of 16 or 17. Good entry bar for the bears, but tail looks like slightly new low of the day, so we may go a little bit lower. Bears would like to get the breakout, but so far this breakout doesn't look very good. We have a lot of buying pressure here. We have a lot of buying pressure here. We have a trading range. We have a smaller range here, so it's a tight trading range. It's going to be hard to break out and escape the magnetic force of this trading range. And whatever breakout we get, I imagine doesn't get very far before we have to pull back and retest into this range if we do break to the downside. For the bulls, they see a double bottom with 4 or here, and if we start to turn up, that would be a candidate for a pullback and a test of the trading range highs. And we'll just go sideways and forever until we finally get a breakout. So we tested below 20, found buyers reversed up, but the problem now is bar 21 is a climax, and we're right back at the high of the range. So I imagine we'll find sellers at and above the bar, but it's strong enough that we might get some immediate follow through, a pullback, and a second leg up. But 22 is a pause bar and a doji. That's not what the bulls are wanting. So possibly bulls will sell on whatever follow through we get, and the bears may initiate new shorts above these highs. And it looks like that might be what's taking place with 23. Not a strong sell, but not a good buy either. Possibly buyers at the 20 high, but if you sold the 20 high, you didn't have much of a drawdown, and we may make it further down. So I'm not sure that the bears are all that trapped, and we may turn down here. 24, a good indication that we'll probably get a bear breakout, but we're in a trading range, so I imagine there will be something disappointing about it. Good entry bar for the bears, strong enough close. We probably go at least a little bit lower. We still have a trading range. The bears are trying to make a trending trading range day, so they want follow through and a breakout down. And the bulls see this as a gap down, a trading range, a failure to go lower, a lot of consecutive double bottoms. So probably buyers around the low close here or the low of the day. The Globex low not very far away. And this is bar 25. Bar 24 is the close of the fourth bar of the day on the 30-minute chart. And you can see prominent tails below the bars and a close above the midpoint here. So to me, possibly we retrace some of this bar, but I imagine we have to go above the bar to find more sellers. And that makes me think that this bear breakout may not get that far before it reverses up. 26 could be like 21, a buy climax that leads to sideways to down, but it's a pretty strong buy signal bar. It is an inside bar. It's a 2-bar reversal. It's basically undoing whatever 25 just did. And now we're back above the moving average. I imagine we get some follow through and have to test above these highs to find more sellers, but I imagine we do find sellers there. We didn't quite break out yet, but we have a follow through bar closing beyond the prior bar, so that's good for the bulls. We probably go at least a little bit higher, probably get a second leg up. But if we do get above these highs and start hesitating, this could be a 2-legged move up from the low of 21, and we might get a couple of legs sideways to down from there. 28 strong follow through, maybe by the close, but this is the breakout bar of the tight trading range for the last hour or so. So we need follow through, and if we start to turn down, you got to be quick to make decisions. Is it going to fail? Are there going to be buyers below 28? I think it's reasonable to buy somewhere below 28. I'm not sure about immediately below. And it's a pretty good looking bull breakout bar, but it's kind of small. It's smaller than average of the last 10 bars or so. So we probably go a little bit higher, but no follow through and a sell signal. I imagine we go sideways here, and the bears trying to get a couple of legs down. 29.30 reversal and follow through, probably sell the close, but the risk is we get a small pullback and a second leg up before we get the reversal down. And 29 and 30 is even smaller than 28, so that means it could be an implied 2-legged move down on a smaller time frame. Therefore, there may be more buyers at the close and below the bars. That's the risk for the bears. If you use a wide stop, it's probably a little bit better, but by the time we get up here, now we're back up at the top of a channel, and if the bulls are strong enough, we could get a surprise breakout, a new high of the day, a test of the close up here. So anyway, what do you do here? Sell the close? Maybe, but I think you got to use a wide stop, and probably better to look to sell a pullback. And for the bulls, I don't know. I don't think it's a very good buy. I think it's probably a better to be flat or short than it is to be long. But I imagine we go sideways to down here. 31, new high in the bull channel. We have a spike in channel bull trend here. I imagine we find sellers at the close and above this bar. And instead we pulled back, found support and rallied. Now we have a close above the prior bar. This is setting up a potential bull breakout of a bull channel, and the bulls would like to get a breakout, a new high of the day, a measured move up, create a trending trading range bull trend day, or a lower trading range and upper trading range day. And for the bears, this is a micro wedge top. We've had a lot of selling pressure. We have a weak breakout of a trading range, and we're not getting very far, so there may be more sellers up here. So the bulls really need follow through, and instead everybody sold to close of bar 32. So it looks like we have a micro wedge top, a sell signal bar, closing inside the range of 32, but strong enough for a second leg down or some follow through, but not very good. There's probably buyers not that far below 30. It looks like we tested that low close and popped up a little bit, but we have a strong enough close that makes me think we're going sideways to down. So 34 is channeling lower and closing a little bit below the moving average. Possibly buyers somewhere around the first pause after 26, or maybe a 50% pullback of this entire leg. I imagine bears get a pullback and a second leg down here, and then it looks like the bears get a climax. We have a prominent tail on the bottom of this bar. It's a parabolic wedge down. The bears probably get at least a little bit of follow through or second leg down, but we might bounce here and pull back. We have a doji. That's not good. So for the bulls, this is a pullback in what's a bull swing, and this will likely lead to a small correction, and then we'll get a series of bars up, and they would like to relieve the trap bulls up here and get a new high of the day. For the bears, this is a breakout. We'll get a pullback and a second leg down, but so far it's not that strong. And if we start to reverse up with strength, we could easily retest back up here. So not that good for either side of the market, but probably sideways here. Looks like a minor reversal of bull bar right at the moving average. Maybe we get some more follow through, but this is starting to look more like a two-legged or three-legged implied pullback that will lead to a second leg down for the bears. And that's what we have here on 38. 38, micro double bottom, 35. Buyers probably not far below, but not a very good buy. Could be a tight channel down. I imagine we go a little bit lower, but probably buyers somewhere down here instead of bull inside bar. So that's bad for the bears. Now we have a double bottom with a buy signal bar. You will find buyers above, but they may get trapped, and we may need to go lower before we rally. This is a pretty small bar as well, smaller than average of the last 8 or 10 bars. So possibly sellers up here. And it looks like bar 40, double top with 37, and now testing the low of 35. Failing to close below the tight trading range, prominent tail above and below the bar. This is 2 or 3 pushes down here. We might go a little bit more down, but I imagine buyers at the low close and probably not that far below 40. And then a third reversal up. This could be a micro wedge bottom. It looks like a spike and channel bear trend on some time frame. But overall, it's a tight trading range. We're trying to break out to the downside, and it's not really working out. So we may have to reverse up and try to break out of the upside, and maybe that'll work better. It's a reasonable buy. There's a tail on the top of the bar. The context is a little bit better than the signal bar, so it makes sense. But 42, not a very strong entry bar. It's small, but it has a strong close and a pretty strong body. The problem with it is it's right at the close of bar 39 and the moving average. So there's probably sellers up here, especially above these highs. And we're still in a tight trading range. So we could easily reverse down and test down to the low of 41, but probably going sideways to up. And I imagine we find sellers above 43, closing above the moving average, but a prominent tail. I imagine we have to test below the bar, probably to find buyers somewhere in the range of 42 or 41. Maybe the bulls get a second leg up. So far, it looks like a minor reversal, so I imagine we have to go sideways to down here. Doji follow-through bar, small bull bar, half the size of an average bar. I imagine we trigger the sell and maybe test down below 42 or into the range of 41. We have a trading range today. It's a tight trading range. We're near the high of the range. That's reasonable to expect. But probably nobody expected a huge bull breakout. 22 points, pretty prominent tail, so we may pull back here. This is similar to what happened over here with bar 5 and what happened yesterday and the day before with a strong bull climax forming a big tail. And both of those climaxes led to trends up and then eventually a trading range. So I imagine the bulls need to get some follow through here if they want to trend up. And if we form a strong strong bear reversal bar on the following bar, this may be a climax, a test of the top of the range, and we may reverse down to the low of the bar. But we have so many limit order traders selling above these highs or above these highs, or even up here. You know, they got to be wondering, like, oh man, maybe we're going to go a lot higher. You know, we've tested the close of the prior day, you know, in just a few minutes. We're not that far away from the high. If we have this much momentum and this is sustaining, we'll probably test the high of yesterday, and we might get above it up to the Globex high. You know, this is bar 44, so we have a few more bars on the chart. On the 30-minute chart, we've had a tight trading range. It looks like a triangle and a buy signal bar, not very strong, but strong enough and good enough context for it. So we're testing above the range here, and it's likely we could get back up here if we have enough strength. So let's see the pullback, and there's not much of a pullback. Instead, we have basically a duplicate bar. It's almost exactly the same size and same shape, and we're closing well above that high, and we tested yesterday's high. So we've traveled just about 40 points or so in the past 10 minutes. So something is changing about the market. You know, you look at the day before we have these two bars, we have a quiet trading range day with about half an average day's range so far. And then with these two bars, you know, now we're up to almost an average day's range in 10 minutes. So the character of the market is changing here, and it's likely that we're going to go higher. Even if we do pull back, the bears would need to produce a very strong bear reversal bar to undo what's being done here by the bulls. So probably going higher. Doji closing inside the range of 46. I imagine buyers not far below if we do turn down. Not a very good buy the close bar, but reasonable to be thinking about longs. And then another small follow-through bar, this time in Doji, much smaller than average, and tail above and below. Maybe sellers above, but very dangerous to be fading a rally like this. This is a parabolic wedge, and this could be the first pullback or first pause in that wedge, and the wedge may lead to a second leg up. This is bar 48, the close of the next 30-minute bar, and it's a huge bull bar with a tail. We're not far away from the Globex high. I imagine we have to get there, and that's about 10 points away from here. So it's reasonable to think about buying, putting a stop 10 points below, and targeting the Globex range. Follow through, but weak. Doji, but still consecutive bull bars, still a micro channel since 41 basically. So probably going higher, probably the first reversal down doesn't get very far before it finds buyers. And then 50, a strong buy signal bar. It looks like we'll probably get to the Globex high, and then we do. 51 could be a climax. There may be more sellers up here than buyers, but very dangerous to be fading this rally because this could be leg 1, pullback leg 2, and leg 2 is not symmetrical to leg 1 yet, and it may get symmetrical. So we have a small pullback. We tested the Globex high and we rallied, this time closing above the prior bar as well. A couple of good bull bars, first reversal down, likely minor, but this is getting exceptionally climactic. So at some point we're going to find sellers and need to pull back here. But so far we're getting good follow through, and now we have an even stronger bull breakout. This could easily lead to exhaustion and a huge move down, or if the pullback is weak like it was the other day, we could just form a trading range and go sideways into the close. 54, that is the reversal bar that the bears would like to see in order to think that this rally is going to fail. So the best thing to do right here, probably sell the close or look for a pullback and then sell in the upper range of the bar and look for a test down to at least the Globex high, probably down below one of these bars, maybe down to the pause bar, bar 48 for a swing. But there's so much buying pressure here, you will find buyers somewhere below 54, but they may not come in until some distance down. We had a small pullback, a second leg down. If I'm a bear, I'm probably thinking about scalping out here. We have an implied two-legged move down. We may get to the bottom of this buy climax here, around 48, but we might get there in a few legs. So I imagine we pull back here, probably to find sellers in the upper portion of bar 55. 56, a bull bar. We'd probably go a little bit higher, but I imagine bears are probably selling the close or selling above this bar for a second leg down. 57, follow through, but a possible micro double bottom if we start to reverse up So the bulls might create a trading range here, and we might need to retest the high close on 53. So not a very strong sell, not a very strong buy, probably better to wait. And then bar 58, second entry long, but a tight channel down, probably sellers above. Good entry bar and good follow through, but possible double top with 56, probably sellers above and probably buyers below, looking for a second leg up. Bear bar, micro double top, sell signal bar, reasonable, but dangerous, could be buyers below that bar. And a doji, we're channeling lower. We tested the high close and popped back down, so I imagine that we're going to go sideways to down here. And then 62, bear breakout, closing below the prior bar. I imagine we have to test into the range of 58. But instead we have buyers for a second leg up. Now we have another double top, possible wedge bear flag if we go a little bit higher and find sellers. And instead we have sell to close bulls and sell to close bears here, giving up on hopes for a rally in a trading range. And it looks like trend resumption from the move down. Could be a climax, might be more buyers here than sellers. But the risk for the buyers is, we need to test down into the range of 45. If this whole thing is a climax, then it could easily be undone in a few bars, just the way it was done in a few bars. But the risk for the bears is all of this buying pressure. This is still just a two-legged pullback, and we're nowhere near the middle yet. So once we get around the middle of the rally, there may be buyers down here. But that's a pretty good distance down from selling the close here, so it's not unreasonable. We had a small pullback, and then everybody started dumping, and we created a huge bear breakout. We're testing below bar 46. We may make it down to 45, but if you notice, we're around the midpoint of the Globex range again, and we're right here at support, the high close on 8. In fact, we're closing just a little bit below it, so that's a sign of strength by the bears, but the risk here is this is a giant climax, and this is going to fail just like this was a giant climax and that failed. What's the day here? We have a trading range. Bulls tried to create a trending trading range bull trend day, and it looks like that's being undone. Now the bears want to break out in a retest down here. But we could just be forming a trading range here. There may be buyers down here. So if we start to reverse up like this, probably reasonable to get out of shorts and start thinking about a retest up here where the bulls initially failed to reverse the market. You can see a trend line here drawn across the lows, extending down to the low of 46. The bulls tried to make a wedge bull flag and rally, but the rally failed at the 62 low breakout point, and everybody sold. So this failure point somewhere in here is probably a test target at a minimum for the bulls buying here. It's a reasonable buy the close bar. The risk is sellers immediately above, but if we start to break out and move higher with some momentum, then it would be a good idea to start thinking about getting long. Good reversal and follow through, strong enough close and strong enough bar makes me think we go higher. Looks like we're heading for the close of 64, the moving average at a minimum. Probably buyers below this bar. There's no tail on the bottom of this bar. There's no tail above this bar, and that represents very strong, urgent buying. So it's probably reasonable to buy the close here. We pulled back and still have a gap between the high of 66, low of 68, and reversed up. Another strong close. This could be two legs up. We might go a little bit higher, but we might start to go sideways to down here and form a trading range. More follow through, but a doji. I imagine sellers not far above, and then 70, more follow through, but getting close to where the bulls started dumping their longs on the 65 high, so we may find sellers up there. We got pretty close and we're turning down. Buyers below probably, I'm not sure about immediately below 70, but probably somewhere in this rally, maybe below 69 or somewhere around the 67 close. We had sell to close bears trying to create a second leg down. They got out of their shorts or got trapped. They'll probably look to sell more and look for a retest of the 67 high. But going sideways here, 72, tight trading range, sellers above, buyers below. And then a strong sell signal bar. But right at the moving average, we could bounce, and then we do. So we have a 5-bar tight trading range since 70, probably sellers not far above, and buyers not far below. Now we might have a wedge bull flag, possibly buyers below, but we may need to go a little bit lower before we find them. and then just more sideways. We're alternating bull bars and bear bars here. I imagine bulls get a little bit more follow through, but sellers probably above. And if we sell off, buyers probably not far below. And we did both. So we have a tight trading range, and that's basically the market into the close. We drifted sideways to up. Interesting day overall. I would call it a lower trading range, upper trading range day, possibly a trading range day, but really most of the day here, half of the day was a trading range day. And then once you're up here, you had significant trading range price action for about an hour, give or take. So I don't know, probably better to think about this as a trading range day with a late bull breakout that ultimately failed, and the failure failed. But anyway, interesting. So what do we do tomorrow? I don't know. On the daily chart, we have a strong bull bar. Bulls won't follow through. If we gap down, we might need to test up before we sell off. I imagine buyers below the low or buyers around 7,400. You could argue a double top with this high right here, but I don't know. It's not a very good looking double top. And bulls want a retest of the all-time high. Bulls would like to have a broader bull channel here. In any case, we are still in a bull trend, and we are in a bull channel. So I imagine buyers not far below, and the bulls are going to want to retest at a new all-time high before too long. So that's the review. Appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I will talk to you later. Thank you. Bye.